Hi, I'm Jim.
And I'm Jeff.
Thanks for listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and pull up a chair while we start the march toward liberty.
That doesn't make sense. How does one march while in a chair?
Good question. You can figure it out. You're the engineer.
Well, stay tuned and we'll let you know on 1450 AM WPG.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Glad you could make it. Good to see you, Jeff.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah.
Nice to see the sun shining.
Yeah, I figured I would do that, make it sound like we don't see each other all week.
Yeah, but we do.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty much every minute.
Well, yeah, that's true. Every
Give or
minute.
take.
Yeah, pretty much, except for sleeping.
But that's because we're twin brothers, Jim and Jeff Stanch, from Runnymede Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric, and Noggin House. And we're here every Saturday morning, aren't we?
Yeah, we're here to bore you with our thoughts on what's going on around the world and the ever-encroaching march of tyranny by our government.
Right, and that, by the way, that is the opinion of at least one station advertiser.
Yeah, definitely one station advertiser has this opinion that you'll hear.
Yeah. So we'd love to talk to you some more. Give us a call at 609-407-1450. When we left last week, we were kind of, I don't know, somber. You know, we were telling people, you know, to get ready, to learn new skills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of reasons to think that way, and you know, we feel like it's important to let other people know what's going on, and we can help.
Well, you know, all the news. If you watch the news and the mainstream media, you'd believe that Happy Days are here again.
Right.
Now over 14,000.
14,000 headed for the all-time record, right?
Right.
Just over 14.
Yeah, 14,169. I believe.
So you know, we could very well be there.
Yeah.
But the Dow is not an economic indicator, although you would think that it is
the way
based
they act,
on the media.
Yeah. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we will get into that. But you know, it's important for we as Americans to do several things. You know, lower our operating costs of our household in a way that will be meaningful enough to allow us to pay off our debts, to save, to be able to save in a way that's, you know, hard assets. Gold and silver come to mind. Lower your energy consumption in the home, make your own energy, all things of which we can help with. That's what we're here for. We do it every day and we love doing it. But also learning new skills. You know, how important will it be in the future to know how to garden and mend clothes and, you know, even more technical stuff, you know, soldering and welding and stuff like that. I mean, you don't have to be an expert, but you have to be probably good enough to get by.
Yeah. And it's a shame, really, if you look back over history. You know, back in the early 1900s, after the panic of 1907, you know, one of the biggest recommendations by the government was to the American people.
Let me guess, it wasn't go shopping.
No, it wasn't. It was exactly what we're talking about. They actually had campaigns that said, "Listen, plant a garden."
Right.
Plant a garden, because they didn't want to see people go through what could be a terrible disaster of back then.
Right.
You know, the food distribution wasn't as quick, and you really had to rely on yourself a lot more.
Right.
We've gotten away from that.
Yeah.
We rely. You think about everything you touch. You essentially rely on everyone else.
Right.
And
that's been the progressive agenda. That's been in charge for over 100 years. So that was probably the last of the independent spirit of America, I would say.
Yeah. Well, the government used to actually encourage independence.
Right. Sure.
Right. We talk about independence, but we don't unfortunately, and it's not taught in the schools. What does independence mean?
Yeah.
Independence, you know, you got to drill it down to a very local level. Just like tyranny starts locally when you got police beating up people and stomping on their heads.
Right.
You know, there's a video last week of a guy in Connecticut or wherever it was getting beaten down.
Bad.
You know, tyranny starts locally,
right?
Tyranny starts with the guy down the street who doesn't like the fact that your lawn got a little too high this week.
Or that you installed something in your backyard that he doesn't approve of.
Right. Yeah, tyranny starts locally. And most tyrants are chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Right? No, most tyrants don't have the cojones to tell you to your face.
No.
But unfortunately, we've built this government that allows these local tyrants
to thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, we really have.
Well, you know, here we are in a situation where, you know, it's 2013, and I would say, you know, we can pretty much admit now we have a communist in the White House.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty obvious by now.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't agree, I say don't take our word for it. Just, you know, do some research online. There's plenty of information.
Yeah, read the Communist Manifesto.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And understand too, communism didn't just start with Barack Obama, right? This has been a 100-year progression, right? It started way back when, late 1800s, early 1900s. So it's nothing new. It's just coming to a pinnacle,
right? But first, how about we talk about some fun stuff? How about that Phil? How about Phil?
Yeah, Phil. Yeah, because he saw
early spring.
Early spring, that's right.
All right, Phil.
All right, let's hear it for Phil.
Yeah.
Hey, Phil. All right, so spring starts when? Tomorrow?
I think it's the next day.
The next day?
Yeah.
All right, I can wait.
Yeah.
I can wait till then.
Right.
That's great. And in other news, we have our own little guy who's sticking his head up out of a hole, Senator Menendez, per se, yeah. Right. Yeah, or maybe putting let's leave that where it is.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see what Carl has to say. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning, Jim and Jeff. Yeah, but I guess some places they decide where you can put your garden, like in Florida.
Exactly. You can't do that, Carl. I mean,
well, maybe but maybe that guy don't have enough room in the backyard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just as simple as he don't want it in the backyard. He wants it in the front yard.
Right. Who knows? He might not have the room. It might be shady back there.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I know at our house we couldn't put a garden in our backyard.
But
we got like a million trees, but in the front yard, boy, it would do great.
Mm-hmm.
It would do great.
So exactly. So you know, put it where it's best for you. But I guess in Florida, Orlando, wherever it was.
Yeah.
I guess they don't want you to.
Yeah, you know what's really awful is I read an article about that. The neighbors, like on his street, local neighbors, loved it because he encouraged them to go up and you know, if you saw a nice zucchini you like, help yourself.
Right. So
they loved
another
it.
case of somebody that isn't even an immediate neighbor,
right?
Sticking their nose in and getting all bent out of shape because somebody's doing something a little different that they don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, why don't the guy just drive around with his cell phone to his ear and not even be looking over like most people?
Yeah. You know, so there's a perfect example. Do we really own anything?
Yeah.
That a guy can't plant his garden on his property wherever he darn well pleases.
Right.
Right.
He doesn't own that property.
Right, because your local government or whoever, they probably have a master plan for your land and you don't even know it.
Yeah, the master plan.
Okay. We got to talk about that one of these weekends.
I'm glad you brought that up, Carl. Yeah, the master plan. That's something we could spend a lot of time on because, that's a whole agenda of control. Yeah. And it's not...
Agenda
21.
21.
You know, they've renamed that, Carl.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did they?
Well, because the Agenda 21 was getting some bad rap on the internet.
Yeah.
So forgive me, I don't remember the name of it.
Is it Future Earth?
Future Earth, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, they renamed it because, the negative publicity.
I would think they'd name it like Forward Earth or something. Forward
would be perfect. Yeah, wouldn't it?
Or is that forward thinking?
Yeah. Forward thinking is another one. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're forward with that was Obama's campaign slogan, right? Forward.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all coming
and
together.
They're never going to be able to call that Health Care Act anything but Obamacare because it's nothing. They can't call it the Affordable Care Act anymore.
No, they definitely can't call it that.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing affordable about it.
Well, see, I think that's all part of the plan because Obama he didn't want what Obamacare was. He wanted government paid for, single payer, health care. That's what he wanted.
Right.
So what better way to get that than the old problem, reaction, solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Set up Obamacare so that it's doomed to failure, so that people cry out saying, somebody do something, and then they come and say, and he says, and then government comes in with the solution that they wanted in the first place.
That's what they were after all along.
That's the way they do it.
Right, and then talk about what somebody can get done or not done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, if they decide that, well, you've lived long enough.
Right.
You don't really need that done.
Right. That wouldn't be a wise investment.
Investment, right, that's it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could call that, the Dr. or what was his name?
Kevorkian.
Kevorkian plan.
Kevorkian care.
Right. Care. And they'd say, wow, that he was right in the first place.
Yeah.
Why did we prosecute him, put him in jail and whatnot?
Yeah.
Right.
That's the funny part.
He was ahead.
Yeah, I guess because he was ahead of his time.
Yeah, way ahead of his time, right, exactly.
Well, they had to do that to make us think that, they were against it.
Yeah, yeah, it's important that the government have us believe that they're looking out for us.
Yeah, just like it's important that we believe that we're free, even though we're not. You know? As long as we think we are, they got it made.
Yeah.
So. And that's kind of like we only want to tax the 2%, the richest, and then everybody gets their paycheck this year, and they're like, well, what's this about? We're not rich.
Yep.
Playing monkey business with the language, and that's what we get.
That's what they do.
Right.
That's what they do.
They're very clever.
Were your employees complaining to you about it, or no?
Well, I didn't get any complaints directly. Of course, we were letting everybody know that was going to happen, so it wasn't a real surprise.
Yeah.
So, thankfully.
But I'm sure they were still complaining.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I hope you don't have any employees that have Obama, Biden stickers on their vehicles.
No, not that I know. I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They're not that dumb, huh?
Well, people in politics, we don't talk too much about it at work.
Right.
I do know that there are people that that voted for Obama the first time around, and they weren't real happy with the way things went.
Right.
And changed their mind the last time around, and but apparently not enough people did that. So
we're still where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We keep talking about that, but it was like 13 million people didn't vote at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if anything,
that's right.
If anything, it was a vote of no confidence for the government. Is the way we look at it.
The idea that more than half of the country voted for Obama is just false. I mean, it's a lie.
Right,
you have that many people drop out of the whole process, and that's in addition to the ones that already don't participate.
Yeah.
Well, that's plenty there. Yeah. Plenty, people that don't even register to vote at all, never have.
Right. So the non-participants won.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. Well, it's cold out there this morning, isn't it?
Absolutely. But you heard about Phil? Did you hear on the break?
No, just what you said, because in reality, I mean, I don't see a groundhog, I don't think, till April or May, actually.
They all live under your shed, don't they, Carl?
No, I chased them out of here.
All right. Because they're not going to come out of there. It's warm.
Right? Yeah. I mean, crazy.
It was when there became a mother and a father and 6 babies, and it was like, because if you chase them, they don't like it.
No?
Yeah.
Do they fight back?
Move.
They move.
Yeah, they move.
I didn't know that. Huh.
Yeah, they don't like being confronted.
Oh, all right.
I mean, they don't mind, like, they'll chase a squirrel away or something,
right.
Yeah. But when it comes to something big, it's like, they're not
just go
stupid.
somewhere else. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Here's our tip for today.
Yeah. Chase your groundhog.
Chase them away.
Okay.
All right, Carl, thank you for calling in. We have another caller holding.
Let's
go to Andrea.
Good morning, Andrea.
Hey, good morning, Jim and Jeff.
Good morning.
So apparently, no football. It's not a great time to announce that right before tomorrow, that if the president I had a son, he'd think long and hard, okay, before he let him play football. And then if he had a son, he would have just looked like Trayvon Martin. I was waiting for him to, like, break into song, you know, if I had a hammer, okay?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I wonder when...
it's always F, you know, F. You know, we used to... But, the confirmation of hearings of Chuck Hagel, that was so impressive of his knowledge.
Yeah, Chuck's been around the block, hasn't he?
He has been around the block.
Yeah.
We haven't really watched too much of it.
Yeah, but we do know a little bit about old Chuck. Yeah. And the thing that matters is that he's
a CFR member, Council of Foreign Relations.
So that's all that really matters, Andrea, you know, because they're the ones that are calling the shots.
Yeah, so
I always thought, we're going to have Jim Carrey. Plus,
he's a member.
I loved what was it, Levin or what? No, who was that crazy guy sitting next to him? We need these two. They're a band of brothers.
I didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that.
That sounds scary.
But you know what I was find funny, Jim and Joe?
Yeah.
Is the one advertiser radio station versus the 3 women caller station.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't it funny that they slobber over the other radio station and call into your station, ratting around looking for free stuff, you know? And here's the thing I thought was funny, because we dared our friend, okay, because, I mean, if you got to pay $40 to call into a pastor, we dared our friend to go online and get reverend status.
Mm.
He did it. Now he can marry people, and guess what else you get?
What?
Oh. Tax-free status.
All right.
And you don't have to pay $40 to call in and listen, to some, guy who thinks, he knows the history of the world, of both Bibles. So you guys enjoy, and I'm going to log on and see the ice cubes. And don't forget about the hot dog soup.
Yeah,
all right, hot dog soup.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Andrea. You too, Andrea. Hot dog soup probably would be a good Super Bowl watching.
That would be. You got the wing in one hand and
the hot dog soup in the other hand. That sounds delicious. That sounds delicious. Speaking of hot dogs, though, Senator Menendez, so as people have been listening and reading about Senator Menendez, he's doing the people's business.
He's doing the
down there in the Dominican Republic.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was Thursday.
Well, his friend has a jet.
Right. He's got this friend.
Yeah, and so
we all need friends like Bob Menendez has.
Yeah.
There's this eye doctor down
in Florida. Well, that's where all the best eye doctors are, down in Florida.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, but apparently this eye doctor has this business over in the Dominican Republic that is uses X-ray machines to scan cargo container ships when they come in,
Oh, okay.
Scans the cargo.
Yeah, what are they looking for in the cargo?
Well, I'm sure they're looking for drugs and weapons and things that would hurt you and I.
Right.
Because we need our politicians to keep us safe.
Maybe they're looking for Dominicans.
Well, they may have been looking for female Dominicans because apparently Bob Menendez had quite the penchant for the young Dominican girl.
Yeah.
And so from what I've read, he likes the refined women. Mm-hmm. He don't want no trash. I'm glad, because he obviously is of an upper stock.
Oh yeah, he's more classy than that.
Right. He's a fine stock, and I would never want him to with anything less than a certain level of refinement.
What if something were to happen? What if he got a STI, as they're calling it now, sexually transmitted infection?
Right. So he would have the refinement standards. But apparently this all came about because I guess he didn't feel like at one occasion he felt like he didn't get his money's worth. Is that right?
I think probably what it was is he felt a certain duty to cut spending. He is a senator
probably
after
what
all.
It was.
So he felt a certain patriotic duty to cut spending on behalf of the people.
Yeah.
So from what I understand is that the charge for not just one but two of these prostitutes was $500.
Okay.
And instead of paying them $500 after the service, he paid them $100. So that's a total. You could say he cut spending by, well, what is that? You know, like 80%.
That's a lot.
He cut spending by 80%.
Right.
So, you know, I say, let's hear it for Bob Menendez.
All right,
cutting
Bob.
spending.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Doing the people's work. He's obviously a fiscal hawk.
Well, yeah. And it's funny because, you know, we believe that he would be just, because he's a Democrat senator and all that he'd just be for crazy spending. But obviously he's not. And he also paid back his friend for the use of the private jet.
Oh, good.
You know, well,
good.
You know, because apparently you're not allowed favors like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he was getting right around to it.
Right.
To pay him back.
Uh-huh.
It just so happens that they started investigating it first.
Yeah.
But that was just a matter of timing.
Right.
You know, he had all intentions of paying him back to begin with. So he paid him back, you know, tens of thousands of dollars for the use of his jet to go down. So he would go down to Florida to visit his friend there, Dr. Mengele, or whatever his name was.
Solomon Melgen.
Solomon Melgen, nice Irish fella.
Right.
And he would go down there, visit with him, and then they would take a trip to the Dominican Republic
together.
Yeah. And also Menendez he's going to soon serve on the one of the committees that has to do with foreign businesses.
Sure.
Yeah.
Who better qualify? I saw him on the TV with who was that? Marco Rubio, and they were all talking about the great, you know, the immigration reform, and they are all proud and happy and smiling. But you know, on the spending cuts, I did just find something that is curious, that they have ethics rules.
Yeah, that's right.
Ethics rules.
Right.
So the rules allow senators to accept free lodging and gifts and stuff like that, and those transactions have to be documented and disclosed and approved by the Senate Ethics Committee, but only if the value is more than $335. So that might explain, you know, $500, I think, is more than $335.
Right,
so by only paying $100, he kind of killed two birds with one stone. You know, he saved the people some money, and at the same time, he saved a whole lot of hassle and paperwork and, you know, going in front of the Senate Ethics Committee and asking them if it was okay to spend $500 on a prostitute. Because they might have said no.
Yeah, they might have.
Yeah. So.
Although Secret Service, you know, they isn't that are we mixing our stories up? Isn't that how they had their problems too? With the money thing?
Prostitute?
Yeah, the Colombian prostitute.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a money thing too?
Apparently, it's a theme
for
our overlords.
It might be, but have no worries. First of all, he's not taking questions at press conferences and things like that.
Oh,
but
good.
Harry Reid came out and said that he's a friend and an outstanding senator.
Oh, of course.
And you know,
yeah.
And any questions, of course, he wanted him to wanted them to direct to Menendez himself because he doesn't know anything about it.
Right.
So I would hope not.
He was busy in the other room.
Yeah. Well, Menendez says that it's a manufactured, politically motivated, false claim.
Oh, I'm sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why would he have to go down to the Dominican Republic so much?
Well, from my understanding, going to the Dominican Republic is the only place you can find young Dominican women.
Oh, okay. Well, that would explain it. Yeah.
So,
that are prostitutes.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess constituents, keep your young daughters away from Senator Menendez.
Yeah.
Sounds like a darn right conservative way to act.
Yeah, because he probably won't be traveling south anytime soon because now he's on the radar. So, you know, he might have to shop locally.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, sheesh.
Is
there any hope?
There's no hope.
No. The evil just is all over the place. I mean, it really is.
Right.
And you get this guy, this clown, this Menendez. Granted, nothing's been proven, but boy, it sure does look pretty darn stinky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, these are the people that are supposedly our leaders.
Yeah.
These are the people who, when you listen to them speak, they refer to themselves as public servants.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton just recently was interviewed.
Her interview?
She called herself a public servant.
Speaking of evil.
Yeah, speaking of evil.
She stepped down this week, right?
She did, and but I'm sure her CFR membership will continue. Council on Foreign
don't
Relations.
Worry. Remember, the CFR office is just down the street from the State
Department. Just down the street, right there.
So it was probably just real easy for Hillary just to walk a couple extra steps to the CFR office, and I'm sure that's where she'll be spending her days and weeks and months.
Doing research and think tanks and whatnot.
Work.
Sure. Because these politicians, they're all about caring about you and about me.
Right.
You know, they just want what's best for us.
And don't worry, in her place is John Kerry, Senator John Kerry. Yep. You know, the famous CFR member also. So,
Swift boat captain, or was he the
whatever,
captain? Swift boat something. Remember all that?
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then, but look, I know you want to take a break, so let's take a quick break. And when we get back, we've been talking about guns and money for the past several weeks. So there's just a little gun piece.
Just a little gun piece, not too much.
But first, let's listen to one of our commercials.
You're listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour with Jim and Jeff Stanch on WPG 1450 AM.
You know, the SunPower solar lease is a really popular way for people to go solar these days, and I can see why. You can go solar with no upfront costs and no payment until the system is up and running. Not only that, but that payment will never go up during the 20-year life of the lease, and it's really easy to get started. All you have to do is give us a call at 856-939-6652. A lot of people out there are using the solar lease, and they've eliminated their electric bill. They've replaced it with a fixed lease payment that will never go up, and they're getting additional income every year from the system. Give us a call to find out more, 856-939-6652. The SunPower Solar Lease. There's no easier way to go solar.
Forget the politicians. They're irrelevant. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets, and they own all the big media news, all the big media companies. So they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear.
You're listening to the Stanching Tyranny Hour with Jim and Jeff Stanch on WPG 1450 AM.
All right, we're back. So that was especially for Carl.
Yeah.
Isn't that the truth, though?
Yeah, George Carlin, he's a comedian.
Right.
But, boy, a lot of what he says is in the envelope of comedy, but yet it's so true.
Yeah, I guess that's how he got away with it for so long.
Yeah.
You just say,
I'm a comedian. Don't listen to me. What do I know?
It's material. It's entertainment.
Right.
I don't really think that stuff.
Yeah, joke's on you.
Right. So, I wanted to talk about gun control because that's still in the news, although
not as much. Well, more important things were in the news, like Beyonce.
Right,
is she going to lip sync at the Super Bowl?
That is important.
All those important
issues. And did she lip sync at the inauguration?
Right. Well, of course. Yeah. So important news.
Right. So the Senate bill is what they're debating now, and it's supposed to be a process that any bill gets posted for public review through the Library of Congress.
Especially in this transparent Obama administration. Remember?
And with today's technology, I don't see any reason why that couldn't be done immediately, but it's supposed to be done within 24 to 36 hours.
Yeah.
And
so this is the Feinstein bill you're talking about.
This is the Feinstein bill, Senate Bill 150. And lo and behold, it's been, I don't know how long, at least a week, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's been introduced, and it is not there. Thomas.gov is the website. That's where these bills are posted for public review, and lo and behold, it's not there.
Well, I can explain that.
Can you?
Yeah. Have you ever seen Dianne Feinstein? I mean, she looks like she wouldn't know which end of a computer is up.
That's true.
She don't know how to post nothing on nothing, no how.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, she's still using a Remington, electrolyte typewriter or whatever they call them.
But she probably is all for Americans having access to muzzle loaders, right?
Oh well, that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah, it's those military style assault weapons.
Maybe I'm being too conspiratorial about this. Maybe there's a simple reason why it's not posted for public review, and it's not a conspiracy to hide the bill so that it gets passed without our knowledge of what's in it. So
I can't believe that you would infer that.
Well, I decided to call somebody in the know.
Oh, really? You got some kind of connection?
Yeah, I got a connection. You might know her, Nancy Pelosi. And so I asked Nancy, what's the deal?
You called her up.
I called her up, and I said, Nancy, what's going on with this bill? And here's what she said.
You recorded it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a listen.
Good. Oh.
But we have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Yeah, that's what she said.
All right. Was that you clapping in the beginning?
That was me. I love Nancy.
Yeah, I know you do.
Great.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. So it's all under control.
It made me feel much better. Nancy's said, you just have to pass the bill before you can see what's in it.
Well, yeah, they.
And I said, okay, Nancy. I thought.
Well, really, who needs a military-style assault weapon?
Right. Well, and I said, but Nancy, you're going to keep me safe, right? And she said, oh, yeah, Jeff, I'll keep you safe. And I said, and Nancy, you wouldn't do anything that was not in my best interest, would you, Nancy? Oh, no, Jeff, I would never do something like that. And I said, okay, Nancy, you're the best.
Yeah. Did you give her a hug?
Yeah.
All right.
She's great.
Yeah, that's great. Let's take a call from Al in Atlantic City.
Good morning, Al.
Good morning. How are you, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
The reason that the bill hasn't been posted is because they've made some changes because their guy got killed with a bow and arrow the other day, and now she's thinking about including bow and arrows in the bill.
Well, really, I mean, who needs a compound bow?
Right.
I mean, compound, that means extra lethal, doesn't it?
Yeah, compound. Was it a compound style, military style bow?
Well, I don't know, but I know you're only allowed 5 arrows in your quiver now.
Okay.
That'll help.
Now, what's Robin Hood going to do?
I wanted to ask you about the solar panels.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, in an area especially this area in Atlantic City with the corrosive air that we have from the salt air. Doesn't the solar panels get dirty? Does that diminish the production of the solar panels? How do they provide cleaning those solar panels?
They do get dirty. We rely on Mother Nature to give us some rain to wash the panels, and that's all figured into our model. When we model a system, we take that into account, and that influences the production, so that when we promise or we guarantee an energy production number, that's taken into account.
Yeah, you're going to get that.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is the corrosion, the salt air. We use SunPower products, and they're simply the best. One of the nice things is that they don't have any kind of contingencies on their warranty.
Yeah, you got to be careful.
Coastal applications. A lot of manufacturers do. They'll say
they got the fine print.
If it's a coastal application, this warranty is for only 5 years or something like that. Not the case with SunPower. It's a 25-year warranty, coastal application or not.
Yeah. Yeah, and so the nice thing about that, and the biggest thing we worry about in Atlantic City is darn tall buildings. Because one of those tall casinos, they cast a heck of a lot of shade.
Right.
And I was also, any product that's out in the sun, I mean, the sun can be pretty hard on a product, dry it out and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
I was just wondering, just how effective is the protection on those panels so that the sun doesn't really destroy them after a while?
That's an excellent question. And the biggest thing with the sun naturally is the heat. Heat causes materials to expand and contract, and the solar cells are basically they're glass, right? So you have glass combined with wires. They expand and contract at different rates, and so you got to be careful that you build your panel in such a way that it can handle that expansion and contraction, which is one of the nice things about SunPower. They basically use a copper mat on the back of the cells for their wiring, and it really makes for a strong cell. Copper is very good in the heat, and it doesn't stress the cell and crack it and things like that, which is not the case in other manufacturers. So
and this is all.
I wanted to ask you one other thing. How come that well, I guess it may be on account of the design, but how come they don't consider putting a solar panel on top of these electric cars?
There are some that do have solar panels on them. One is, do you remember what make? The Nissan Leaf, and that expensive car has one.
I forget what brand that is.
Fiat or something?
Fiat.
I forget who it is.
Yeah, and what they do is it's not enough to run the car, but it provides a trickle charge to the accessory battery that runs the things like the radio and the interior lighting and stuff like that, so that as a result you're getting that charge that your alternator would normally provide in a gasoline-powered car. You're getting via the sun. It's being done. They're real subtle with it. They're not easy to spot.
Yeah, they're built into the roofing and that sort of thing. So you kind of gotta look pretty closely to notice it.
Right.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much. Isn't Menendez on the Council for Foreign Relations?
He's not. Yeah. He's not. Yeah. He's not listed as a member, at least not right now.
He certainly should be. Probably would now pass the, the qualifications. So he certainly should consider getting on. He's having foreign relations. I mean,
he should be the chief of the foreign relations.
He's having foreign relations.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good call, Al. Thank you very much. And we have Tony. Speaking of the CFR, Tony in Pleasantville.
Fasten your seatbelt, boys.
All right.
I heard you talking about a little bit about religion. I have a good friend over here in Pleasantville. He's a pastor, and someone disagreed with him one time and wound up made obscene phone calls to the guy's home, to the guy's church. I've heard the tapes. Wow. The person's absolutely unhinged, making threats to him, and I mean, there's no call for that.
That's for
that
sure.
Nonsense.
Yeah, just because you disagree with somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, did you? I think I saw you guys at Hillary's Bon Voyage party yesterday. There, she looks like she's in fine health again. John Kerry slapping her on the back.
Yeah. We had our noisemakers and our little
the party hats.
We were having fun trying to trip her up, because she's still got the concussion. She's still a little dizzy.
I thought John Kerry was slapping her just a little too hard on the back, might loosen that blood clot up.
Right.
We didn't want that to happen,
Well, what we did, we were kind of hoping it would, set some things off in her brain. Jeff and I stood in front of her and kind of waved back and forth and talked simultaneously.
I didn't see Bill. Where was Bill, though? I didn't see him.
He was busy. He was.
Him and Bob Menendez had something going on.
Yeah, they were going
a special meeting or something.
Bob Menendez. I understand. He's still so shook up. I seen him again. He's got his pants on backwards.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was in a hurry to get them
pants on backwards.
The FBI was coming sniffing around. He had to get them things on quick.
He understand. He sent one of his staff members down to the Dominican Republic to try and find his wristwatch.
He sent a member down, all right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, I had a bad day at work there the other day. Some practical joker, we had the under the microscope, and we were all ready to go with the the studies of the fruit flies.
Right.
somebody slipped 2 gay fruit flies in there under the microscope.
Oh, man,
but
that's just your luck,
giveaway
isn't it?
was that both of them had condoms on. So we knew something was up. So,
yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
Wow, that was just wrong. Why would somebody do that to you?
I don't know. One was named Bob, and the other one was named Barney. So I don't know what that deal was about.
Well, look at the bright side. At least you're paid such an exorbitant salary that it was worth it, Tony.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we had to take drastic action when that. We got him off under the microscope. We cleaned that up, but. Yeah, it was just a little shock though, but
just remember to wear your gloves, Tony.
I think one of them wants to be a scoutmaster too, right?
Yeah,
maybe one of them might want to be a scoutmaster.
Yeah,
I guess those decisions are coming to the local level. And, sheesh.
What difference does it make, right?
I hope they all think it through. Good and hard.
I got to ask you guys. I saw Chuck Hagel in the reports. I mean, the rundown. They give you the reviews there, and this guy. I don't know whether he's coming up the steps or down the steps. This Chuck Hagel.
Well, that's he's got.
He looks like he couldn't find his way out of a 1-bedroom apartment if it had 10 front doors.
I think what it was he didn't have his CFR meeting that morning, and so he didn't know what to say. So he said a little bit of everything.
Right.
Well, he had 3 meetings. He was prepped for 3 times there, and Krauthammer was great last night giving the rundown on it. I mean, this guy says something yesterday, and he changes what he said today.
Right,
Who do you believe?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I could just see how those meetings go. Chuck, no,
say this, Chuck. Oh, wait, I had it all backwards.
In the middle of the hearings, he was handed a note directly from the White House saying, "Oh, I've just been handed a note telling me I misspoke."
Wouldn't you love to see that note?
That's beautiful.
The CFR letterhead. CFR letterhead.
By the way, as far as tomorrow, are we going to be treated to the annual Obama interruption interview before the game again
I
this
hope
year?
So.
I mean, it's an annual event now, right?
Yeah, I hope so. It's really important that we find out what the Grand Master has to say about the Super Bowl.
The Chief Potentate.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what was the guy there Ralph Cramden had there? The Grand Poobah?
The
high exalted mystic ruler or something of the Raccoon Lodge or something.
Right.
There you go.
The secret handshake.
Yeah. Well, I understand it's going to be a very rough interview. They're going to be loaded with bags of marshmallows to lob at him, but...
As always.
That's the media doing their investigative journalism. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's all have a nice big piping bowl of hot dog soup. Eh?
That sounds good.
And we'll all run barefoot in the field of daisies.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That sounds so nice.
All right, guys.
Tony.
Keep up the good work.
All right, we will.
Talk to you next week.
Yes, sir.
So, speaking of fields of daisies, apparently the economy is out of the woods. Because the Dow is up over 14,000, like we mentioned earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's headed to the all-time high, right?
Yeah, 14,169, if I remember right.
Something like that,
is the all-time high, and, happy days are here again, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
So the Dow is not an economic indicator. It's important to understand that because the media will have you believe that it is an economic indicator.
Yeah.
But some other news came out this week that should have really sent the Dow reeling.
Yeah.
And it didn't. And that's the key.
So the question is, why is the Dow going up? And that's easy.
Yeah.
Fed money printing.
Right.
The Fed's buying $85 billion a month worth of bonds and securities and that sort of thing, and that money has to go somewhere. So guess where it goes? Into the Dow, and you get this inflation of stock assets.
Right. Because this money, the people who have it, which is the banks, they want to generate a return. They haven't released it to the public in the form of loans,
right?
Because apparently they still think the risk is not worth the
reward.
So
yeah.
instead,
and I suppose it's not with interest rates as well.
Oh, sure, right. So they're not going to loan it to me and you. They're gonna buy assets with it, like stocks.
Right.
And so we see Dow 14,000 headed to new highs, but at the same time, we see that the economy shrank.
Yeah, it shrank in
quarter.
December, or in the quarter,
Yeah, 0.1%.
And that's if you believe, of course, the government-cooked numbers.
Of course, yeah, that's based on their number.
Yeah.
It's not...
we highly recommend shadowstats.com.
Shadowstats, yeah.
John Williams, I believe, is the fellow's name that runs that.
Right.
And his ongoing... unemployment rate is 22% thereabout.
Yeah, unemployment did go up.
It did go up,
It went from 7.8 to 7.9%.
Yeah, but the fact is that there's 89 million people not in the labor force that they just stopped counting.
Yeah,
89 million people.
What are these people doing?
Well, that's a good question, but we don't know. But what we do know is they just let them drop off the labor force,
so they're not
rolls,
counted,
so they don't get counted anymore.
Right. So
now,
as a result, you have, instead of a 22% unemployment rate, which is the way it used to be calculated, right? Back in I think up
70s,
to
I think
the Carter administration, they changed it. Instead of that, we have a 7.9%. Unemployment rate, which really doesn't sound too bad.
No,
no,
yeah.
So
call it 8.
Yeah, right.
8 out of
still under
100 people. Doesn't sound so bad, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But 22, that's a lot of people. That's almost a quarter of people.
Right.
Not working.
Yeah, and it's not just here. This is worldwide. I mean, we look at Europe with their unemployment. They are really. 25% unemployment in places like Greece and Spain, and the youth unemployment rate is
it's
just
crazy. Yeah.
And the thing to remember with that is, those people are the future.
Yeah.
I mean, their attitudes and their outlook for the future is going to influence the future for all of us.
Right.
Because they're the ones that are going to be, leading, making voting decisions, right, and steering the direction of the country and the world. So it's scary when you have that level of unemployment and despair, which is what has to happen. You get despair because then you get bad decisions. Right.
And so this Dow approaching its all-time high is, I think, scary, because if anything, I believe that it's ripe for some pump and dump, right? Because remember that we have this fiscal debt problem in the United States. That hasn't gone away, right? Don't forget, they passed this law. It has since passed the Senate, so it started in the House, passed the House, passed the Senate. It's on its way to Obama. That suspends, quote unquote, the debt ceiling. What that means in English is there is no debt ceiling.
Right.
They don't have to worry about a debt ceiling, right? They're going to revisit it in, I think, May, where they'll just backdate the debt ceiling to account for all the spending between now and May.
Right. And the truth is they'll extend it.
They will probably
extend it. Yeah. They'll extend it, and then eventually it'll just be forgotten.
Yeah.
And what we have is just unlimited spending.
Right.
Now, remember, we do have a communist in the White House.
We do.
So, do you think he's going to sign that bill when it comes to his desk?
Of course.
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Yeah. Because nothing would be better if we look at the writings of communists over the years. There's communists all over the place in the American government,
right,
including Obama.
Yeah.
Right. He was raised by his mother was a communist.
Yeah.
He was that Frank, whatever his name was, that basically was a surrogate dad for him.
Right.
Was a communist. Right. So
Sotero guy.
No, not him. The other one.
Oh, right. That.
I don't remember his name, but he's a communist, and to think that Obama studied constitutional law and so that makes him a proud American.
Well,
baloney.
Yeah, what we have is we have government control of all aspects of our lives now. You just look at it. The government has control of labor. Government has control of schools, education, what our kids are taught. Yep. Our kids are taught that people evolve from amoeba or whatever.
A puddle of
goo, right? Just somehow it managed to combine to form a person.
Right.
And furthermore, they're being taught that evolution is present throughout everything. And society, the Constitution is a living, evolving document.
That's what they say.
That's a lie.
Yeah, and
that's what they're being taught.
And so what better way than to take over a society through incrementalism than to teach young people that incrementalism is natural,
right?
I.e., evolution.
It's a natural process.
It's a natural process. Yeah. It's not unusual, and that this is just what happens.
So how can it be bad if it's natural, right?
Right.
It can't.
Of course, we have to evolve the historical document of the Constitution because people change and things change and society changes. And look, we're much smarter than this crusty old document. Right?
Yeah.
What better way to evolve into what the world planners want us to be, which is world planners on top, the political elite, and us useless eaters down here doing whatever it is that they need us to do.
We're labor. We're labor to keep the economic engine running so that the transfer of wealth can take place to the top.
Yep.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, definitely. And that's
hard, but it's the truth.
Well, it is absolutely the truth, and it can be seen in the formation of the Federal Reserve back in 1913. Along with it was the passing of the income tax, which was required by the elite bankers, the world international bankers, so that they could have collateral for this debt.
Yeah.
You are collateral, listeners.
Right.
You.
Right.
That's why you have a birth certificate. That's why you have a social security number.
Right.
You are collateral.
Your labor is a currency.
Right.
And that currency can be traded. It can be exchanged, and it is every day.
Yeah.
They took control of the education system. Why? Well, because it's important that they produce a body of society that basically just does as it's told, isn't taught the truth, and is taught to basically just follow orders and trust the government.
Yeah.
And not to question anything. Don't question anything.
No,
just
don't question anything.
You're told.
Yep.
And
sit down,
pay
shut
your
up.
taxes.
Yeah. And that unfortunately is going to continue until people decide to say that I'm not going to participate, and I'm going to think of ways and start practicing ways that I can be independent. Right. Independence has to be the mantra for the future American.
Yeah.
And the future starts now.
Right.
So it's things that we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Teach your kids some skills that can be useful in life.
Yeah, it's so important. Just simple things that will serve your children well for their whole lives. Hunting and fishing, clothes mending, knitting, building and fixing things, understanding how things work, figuring things out. Why does this machine work the way it does? I said earlier, welding, soldering, things like that. Growing your own food.
Yeah, and unfortunately, over time, Americans have gotten fat, dumb, and happy, and have gotten. Remember, we used to attend these meetings, these breakfast meetings.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
And they were disturbing. And the reason they were disturbing is the common mantra was that America is so great. We don't have to do anything other than generate ideas and let the rest of the world sweat.
Right.
And build.
Our exports are Hollywood and Britney Spears. The one guy, I forget his name, but These were breakfast meetings, business breakfast meetings back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And these people believe this.
And they made us quite uncomfortable because, a nation doesn't become wealthy due to meaningless ideas.
Right.
Through the exports of bubblegum chewing and fodder for the masses like entertainment and sports.
Right.
That's
not wealth.
America became great because they built things.
Right.
They used their natural resources to create a better life
and create things that the world demanded.
Right.
The things that the world wanted.
So over the years, we've sold all that off. We've given it away to other countries through a variety of methods, through government, through unions, through all those things to basically sell our sovereignty. And we propped ourselves up with this notion that we're just too darn smart. Well, we're not too darn smart, and if we're not careful, our arrogance can come up behind us and bite us in the bum.
Right.
So a couple economic things to keep in mind while they're talking about the Dow Industrial Average. They're watch something else, please. Watch the Japanese yen, which ended the week at 92.
Right.
Last week, if you remember, it was at 90.
Yeah, remember the Japanese yen. They're printing no holds barred on the yen. They've had deflation for 2 decades. They want out of it. They want inflation. So that means dumping yen on the world.
And that's not good.
That's not good. And why? Because we have to beat that. We have to dump even more because a yen that's being inflated means cheaper Japanese products coming into our country. We can't have that.
No.
We can't have that.
The powers that be will make sure that doesn't happen. The other thing to watch is the 10-year note. We'll close that over 2 points, 2%.
Yeah.
It's something to watch. Last week it was 1.96 if I remember right.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to say. Last month, Americans pulled, I think it was $114 billion out of the banks. Let that be a lesson. Something's going on.
Yeah, keep your eye on it. And the central banks are buying gold. Do what the central banks do.
All right.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.